Hello. Hello. I'm going to do a little bit of an energy week recap. We had a very, very interesting week in our collective human experience here on Earth. Definitely would advise you to check out the weekly video that I did leading up to this week. I'm not going to touch on those things just because they're already in that video, and I'm going to touch on some new things today, but definitely would suggest floating over there. Okay, so we had a very, very massive week energetically, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'm going to break down kind of what themes I saw within my own life, within my clients' lives, within the collective. It's interesting. I somehow have the same numerology as the collective. So that means every year and every month, the collective numerology for that year and that month is also the same as mine, which is kind of wild. But I do think that there's something there around what I'm able to sense and tap into as it relates to the collective. So here's some things. As always, this is just intuitive perspective. You can take it or leave it. It's all good, but it is time for a reset. It's time for a reset. This week indicated a lot of things to us around what feels enlivening, what feels nourishing, but also what feels like, that enlivening. It's like, it's not just an apathetic kind of feeling anymore. Like, we are looking to feel more alive. We're also looking to feel more connected. And we may be in our minds around what that is. And we may be confused around who that actually is with. And we had the 7-7 portal, the 7-7 portal. We had Uranus, the planet Uranus, moving into Gemini. We had a new moon in Capricorn on Thursday. There's a lot to unpack. The theme that first wants to step forward is that there's a lot of body things happening, body upgrades, body shifts. This could be physically. This could also be how you relate to your physical body, how you relate to this form that you've chosen for this incarnation. This is a crystalline embodiment year. So, and I channeled that back in January for the new year. Massive, massive recalibrations from a DNA perspective. We are shifting in our collective and individual ascension journeys as we raise our consciousness. Our physical DNA shifts. And we're given certain opportunities throughout this year to embrace those moments. And one of those big moments was this past week. So you may have been feeling a little bit more tired. You may have been feeling even more energized. I had a very hard time sleeping this week, which is pretty unusual. But I had a lot of other things around moving my body and almost like doubling down on my rituals and grounding practices this week that proved to be very helpful. So whatever that could have been for you, just know that your body may have really been trying to speak to you this week, and to continue to tune in, to continue to get present, to continue to realize that your body actually wants to talk to you, has things to share with you. Do you have the courage to find the stillness to listen? We are also in this phase of visceral body responses. So I'm talking a visceral body response to someone's voice, to family, friends, to community, to environments, to mentors. It's like we're starting to get viscerally answers around people, places, and environments that are no longer serving us or are serving us or are kind of like leading this new lantern, this new lighthouse of connection. And that really is an indicator of what you have transmuted, how you have shifted, how you have changed in the first half of this year. And that's going to be realigning and recalibrating you with the aligned people, places, environments, mentors, communities in return. There are a lot of people who are about to move physically on this planet, like a changing of their grids, a closing of those soul contracts on their particular area of land, and beginning a brand new contract somewhere new. I'm not really going to go into the shifts that Earth's kind of going through in this video, because there's so much happening within humanity this past week that I'm going to touch on. So I definitely noticed a big theme of massive karmic closures happening. This mostly came forward around karmic relationships. I know I had some very, very, very interesting things in my personal life pop up this week from a specific karmic romantic relationship. And I had not spoken to this person since February of 2023. So it's very interesting to just witness what's appearing and what is leaving, what feels like it's kind of like flooding in as nourishment, to lean into that, and then what feels like it's maybe ushering out in this wave. It's kind of like, who's kind of moving forward that feels like I can just breathe and also feel enlivened and feel like I can connect to myself and to them and to the environment, etc., in a deeper way. And then what feels like it's going back out into the ocean, what's feeling like it's being released with love from your life. I also will say there's a lot of karmic closure around, if you are on the twin flame journey, if you feel like that is something that you identify with. There may have been things in this past week in particular that did reappear for you to like put the final cross stitch, the final needle in to seal up certain karmic relationships in your life. I've been finding that a lot for people that I know that identify as twin flames. In particular. And then I also know a bunch of other people who were navigating a lot of karmic just things and aspects this week. There's a lot of ancestral healing that also kind of came to the surface this past week that could have been indicative or started from, the 7-7 energies. But that's really going to be kind of at the forefront between now and the Lionsgate portal. That's going to be coming in early August. So just paying attention to your body, paying attention to where your mind is going, sometimes I think we think ancestral healing is, yes, it's an energetic thing. Yes, it's a physical thing, but it's also a mental thing. Like, what are the limiting beliefs? What are the thought forms that you grew up around as a child, that you heard, that you kind of took on as your inner critic, etc.? Like, that is a big indicator of what could have been passed down in the lineages of your bloodline, but also in your ancestry. And so the mental body is kind of also invited into this ancestral clearing landscape. So paying attention to what is being brought forth in that is really key. Especially again for the next couple of weeks leading up to 8/8, because we are entering a very interesting time. We are entering a very interesting time. I know the first 6 months of 2025 have been truly next level, but we're about to enter a different level, a different book of experiencing life as a human on this planet. And I don't say that out of fear. I say that to kind of like lovingly prepare each of us, including myself, for what is unfolding. And what is going to be unfolding involves a huge deepening of your inner sense of security. One of the things that runs rampant as an energy on this planet is specifically around this like power over dynamic of like we're, whatever, this is government, this is financial systems, this is everything. Like, let's just instill instability to see how people's inner worlds can either like lock in on their own trust, lock in on their own creation within themselves to literally outcreate the matrix, to outcreate these agendas and paradigms that desire to keep creation totally inaccessible and, in fact, infiltrate limitation on what we create. And that also includes, when I say create, that's literally like how we desire to create our lives. And so when we feel like there is something outside of us that provides us security, that is exactly where they want us. And this whole soul evolution journey on Earth is to remember the inner security that is within you. And that anything that like seems a little glimmering or shimmering, or from a very human standpoint, like food and money and shelter and like these things to keep us physically safe and alive, like that is shifting. And also our perspective of what that has given us thus far is also shifting. And we're also getting more creative around how to create those things, experience those things with people we love in a way that isn't reliant on the seeking outside of yourself for safety, security, stability. It's gonna be really interesting to see that interplay. And that's not an overnight thing, and that's not an easy thing. And that is kind of where we're really being stretched. Every single person that I know has been pushed to their edges this year. Entrepreneurs, especially, I would say, have really been stretched, have really been growing. And that's a conversation for another day that I'm very passionate about, but it's not this particular video. Okay, so another topic of this week is really coming back to the frequency of want and how that is a different frequency than desire. I don't need to particularly like spell that out, but it's just an invitation for each of you of like, are you actually tapped into what you want? Are you tapped into what your body wants? Are you tapped into what your mind is actually like illuminating for you, whether that's a lightning bolt or just like a gentle glow? Like, what do you want? It's that scene from The Notebook where Ryan Gosling is like very much in front of Rachel McAdams by the car. And he's like, what do you want? What do you want? That is kind of what this week particularly brought forth. And when you have the courage to just embrace what it is you truly want, who you truly want to be beside on this planet, who you maybe for sure don't want to be beside on this planet, it's okay. And it can all come from a place of love. It can come from a place of like, hey, I just know that this isn't in resonance. I know that this like apathetic whatever in our connection or in my life or how I approach my work or how I approach, eating or whatever is not like something's shifting. Something is shifting. How I brought up the food thing because it's like, how we eat is also very interesting. And as someone who is a very fast eater, I am trying to really be with how I am eating and how I want to eat. How my body actually wants to eat is not how my mind wants to eat. And I know that that's a weird example, but these things are very nuanced and it's speaking to us in very interesting ways. So I just invite you to feel into like, what is that for you? What is that in terms of environments, people, your inner world, the way you live, the way you move, the way you navigate life? It's being asked for you to look at with clear eyes and an open heart and also a strong spine. It's all important. Okay. I also will say there's this vibe of, there's this invitation of maturity, specifically into your integrity, maturing into your own integrity. There's a growing up energy right now. And some of which we may be resisting, that's totally fine. But just taking notice, having the awareness of like, what am I resisting out of not being fully in integrity. It's different from where am I resisting something that's just not in resonance. And I think that probably could relate to the creation that I was talking about before. Because at the end of the day, we are literally all creators, truly. And that is a big thing that's a role that not everyone thinks that they have, but they do. It's not a role, it's an ability. It's just, I guess I'm just trying to say, like, I think when people think, creative or creator, it's like, the capital C. And yes, and also that's you. And that is within you. And that is what is like, I think there are going to be people around you who are going to be ushering in new aspects of how you see yourself as the divine creator and the ultimate creator in this human experience. Because we're all starting to see each other in that way, from a lens of unconditional love, from a lens of, hey, you have a unique medicine. You are meant to bring forward this aspect. Hey, I know I am finally willing to be confident in my unique medicine over here, and really revering each other in that space. Because that is how we create what we want to see in the world. And we've reached a point where, I said this in the video actually last week, of just like, individuation has driven the collective for exactly as it's meant to. And to me, that time period was 2017 to the first part of 2025. Your own inner actualization was driving the collective consciousness. And that's still happening. But what's really clicking in now is that you are meant to co-create with others to shift the collective. You and your individuation meeting someone else and their individuation, that weaving of that tapestry is weaving this whole other tapestry from a collective standpoint. And that is where we're going. That is going to involve you being so in tune with your body around who feels like your heart family, your soul family, who really feels like you can relax into who you are. We need more people relaxed on this planet, because right now it's really hard to be. And it's not like, oh my God, I need to relax. Let me just try to relax. That doesn't necessarily mentally always work. But what we're going to be finding is, what I'm trying to highlight here is that community and the people that are going to be stepping forward in your life and possibly leaving your life. This is what's recalibrating, and this is what's going to allow you to actually feel like you can relax, take an exhale, and take an inhale of like, wow, I'm actually being nourished. Wow, I'm actually being seen. Wow, I notice I'm not maybe judging myself nearly as much. I'm able to just be. And how that kind of landscape is actually what clicks in a whole other nuances around heart coherence, heart consciousness, etc. That's really going to be the propeller of everything moving forward. Two last things I just want to float in relating to this week. We have a lot of retrogrades coming up. Tomorrow, Saturn in Aries goes retrograde. I believe Saturn just entered Aries in like May. I think it was like May 24th. So we've had a couple of weeks with Saturn being in Aries. Tomorrow it's going retrograde. Then we have Mercury going retrograde. And then we have a little, like 2 weeks of a lull period before eclipse season. Dun, 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 dun. I really feel like the more that we can get present with these next couple of weeks, I'm talking now until Lionsgate Portal, the more that you can really ground your essence and your energy into your body onto this planet, you are going to feel so much better going into eclipse season, because this one feels intense. And I mean, they're all intense, and that's how they're supposed to be. That's kind of what our cosmos are mirroring to us. However, it is imperative that we find ways, rituals, whatever it is, to ground yourself into your body, to allow your mind to be still. These are simple things that I'm saying, and there are many ways to do that. It's not just walking barefoot on the earth. It's not just, going on a walk without your cell phone, all of which are incredible. But like, we have to get creative of what is going to work for us now, for us in our frequency and who we are at this moment. Things are going to shift, and what is going to feel nourishing, who is going to feel nourishing, like I've been saying, is also going to shift. But, this is not the time to be fragmented. This is the time to double down on whatever your embodiment practices are. Whoever you can be in tune with your wholeness and your enlivened but calm nervous system around. And if you do not have anyone, truly, if you do not have anyone that feels in alignment with that yet, this is where you can set some really beautiful intentions, and you can also invoke actual prayer. Whatever your version of prayer is. For me, when I drink tea, that is a prayer. That is my prayer time. I don't think anyone else may call that a prayer, but I do. And so for you, maybe that's a walking prayer. Maybe that's whatever that is. It's different from a meditation. It's different from getting still. It's different from, gaining awareness of like, yeah, how am I feeling? What's going on? What's alive within me? It is, hey, from this prayer space, it's not just being like, okay, universe, like I would like this manifestation and this. No, that's not what I'm talking about. This kind of prayer is, show me in my body when I meet these people, when I meet these communities, when I, whatever, show me in my body a sign that this feels nourishing, that this is something to lean into. A prayer that I do almost every day to Earth, to Gaia. I say, Gaia, put me in the right place at the right time. Put me in the right place at the right time. There's no scripted agenda of like, put me in the right place at the right time so that I meet someone who then connects me with this person. And then like that, there's no agenda. There's no like, here's the ultimate manifestation of what this needs to equate to. It's just here is the deep desire and the want, and I am praying for guidance within my own navigation system to know and to trust when that comes along my path. So getting creative with that will also be very important. Okay. One last thing that I was kind of touching on before, but just to round it back, this grounding of your energy and your essence, the best way that I can describe it, like there's just so much happening. There's solar flares, Gaia's purging a ton, like energy is coming up, down, all around, like mental thought forms everywhere, distractions everywhere. AI is a whole other conversation in terms of what that imprints. And that's not to be fearful about it. It's just to like notice, how do I feel when I engage with AI? How do I feel when I go on Instagram nowadays? How do I feel? Your body is getting very loud with that. So so it is very important to ground yourself into your own body of your own being. Doing what you desire as it relates to clearing your auric field, grounding your auric field, expanding your auric field when you desire. The same thing, the auric field of your home, huge right now. But grounding the telephone wires is where I'm going with this kind of particular analogy, is like, we can have all of this energy, this connection, this, or let's just say, I don't know, LTE towers. What is, I don't know. I'm trying to even think of a modern day example, but telephone wires are literally physically connected. So we can just go with that. But the wires have to ground. They literally have to ground into the earth for those telephones to work, for the connection to work. And this is why the more we come back to our bodies, the more we come back to our unfragmented and fully whole selves that is always accessible to us, that kind of grounding in your own light and grounding in your own essence is actually how you are going to connect with other people exploring the same journey, who are going to help shift the planet with you in that way. But what's happening right now is there's just a lot of incongruence because there's a lot of crossed haywires and no one is actually grounding into their body. No one is actually grounding into their own being. And trust me, it can be harder than ever to do that right now. There's a lot of energies who don't want that. Which is why using your sovereign breath, that can always bring you back to the inner wholeness inside of you. And that is going to be truly the navigation system to meet all that you desire through people, through environments, through opportunities, through entrepreneurship. Again, I'm going to be kind of sharing a little bit more about that because I feel very passionate about what is shifting in spaces and companies for people who are entrepreneurs, and money flow and a lot of things relating to that in a different video. So grounding yourself into your own energy is going to allow yourself to truly go through the reset that you are meant to go through right now. And the reset is going to bring forward a lot of beautiful things. There's a lot happening with divine union. That's going to also be very interesting between now and the 8/8 portal. But connect with yourself, calm your mind, drop into your body, breathing into your heart. This stuff is not just like conceptual. This stuff is very real. And the moment that you attune to that in your own way, things will shift. Your life will shift. It will shift. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there unless anyone has any questions. I'm doing a live for the first time, so I think that's it. Wow, it's been 30 minutes of me blabbing. All right, well, I hope you found something that was resonant. Gaia's Gateway is my monthly community membership. It's incredible, like really incredible. Check it out. There's a link below, and I would love to have you if that feels like something that you want to explore. Go for it. We just had our call on Thursday, but the replay is available. It was a juicy one. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll do more lives. Maybe I'll do just more structured videos. But thank you for being here, and I'm sending you so much love.